Hello. It's Wednesday afternoon and I'm live, and today is the VIP card. I sent you all an envelope with a card inside, and I was really worried that it may have, it was exactly 1 ounce, and the post office is so weird with their measurements. I apologize if anything came postage due or didn't arrive in time. So first let me show you what we're doing for the VIP card. We are going to make basically this card right here on the bottom of page 44 of the catalog, and I've started kind of making these VIP thank yous artwork from the catalog so that you could just look at the picture and kind of do your own thing. But this was my inspiration. It's not an identical copy. And then what I did instead was I used the papers from A Christmas Story, which is the holiday papers for this season. Close to my heart. And so instead of using, I think these are those from the mix-ins? Instead of that, I used these. They used this pattern and a mix-in pattern, and I decided to use this pattern instead with some cardstock. Okay, so let's get started. First, thank you very much for being my VIP. VIP renewals for many of you are coming up on November 1st, and I really hope you think about renewing, because every single person who signed up for a VIP, I think all but one person came out ahead. Everybody earned their money back that they had purchased, because it's like $35 to start. And then they earned that back plus more. And with my giveaways that I do for my VIPs, you came out way ahead. So I just want you to know that even if, it's a slim year, you're not going to buy as much, whatever your plan is, you may very well come out ahead if you're going to keep purchasing anything from Close to My Heart. And I hope you do, because I think it's awesome. So these are the Close to My Heart slimline cards and envelopes, and so I sent you a card and it has some parts and pieces in it, so let's take those out. And you may need to kind of fold that crease again, just like that, just to make sure it's nice and sharp. I'm going to set my envelope aside. Okay, so basically a basic card that goes together is a very simple card. So you can use either side of the paper that you want. I do not care. Nobody's going to see this but you, and it's yours. So do with it what you want. But I loved this background. I wish I could make more of it show, but I ended up covering it up with cardstock. So the first thing we're going to do is adhere the background to this slimline, and I'm gonna put that on the table so I can be straight. I don't know what, my hands are really, really cold today. It's cold outside, but ever since I had that thyroid surgery, I feel like my hands are like little ice cubes all the time. It's such a weird problem. I've never been cold in my whole life, and to suddenly be cold, it's blowing my mind. Okay, so the next piece is going to be a layering piece, and you can do the lighter color of, this is scarlet, this is the actual color of scarlet, and then the other side that's lighter is the light side. So with Close to My Heart cardstock, you get the actual color, and then the other side is the darker. And I like the darker, so I'm going with that. And we're gonna put that onto the card. This is like, other than the coloring, this card is fast. Now, you know what's weird? Instead of centering it, I'm gonna lower this a little bit because I wanna make the black pattern show a little more. You can do whatever you want. Hi, Heather. Yeah, I have never been cold, ever. This is really, it's weird for me to be cold. Okay, now of our parts and pieces here, you can kind of see that this message goes together like this. And I thought that would look really nice on the inside of the card. So you can kind of set that aside just for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and put that together just so it's not loose. Just like that. Have that ready for the inside. And then I sent you a piece of shimmer trim. I don't know if you've ever used Close to My Heart shimmer trim, but it is super sparkly, as you can see. And if you run your hands over it, you'll see that it doesn't like leak out all over. You don't get like glitter everywhere. So it's really nice for projects like this. And then you have your cut pieces that we're going to color, and a little message piece for the front of the card. And you should have a few little silver dots, and that is for our puffs of smoke. Now, what I did, I was going to just put this on just like this, but I felt like it needed a little bit of bling. So I'm going to lower this just a little. I feel like I'm really far away from my table for some reason. Okay, so I want to add my bling to the bottom of this piece of mink. Now again, you can use the actual dark side of mink, the regular color, or the light, and I like the light, so I'm going to use the light side. And you want this on the top of mink like this. So before I adhere this down, I'm going to go ahead and do the shimmer trim. A tip with shimmer trim is to always leave like a little tail on it like this, so that you have a way to get a hold of it. But otherwise you have to you can kind of mess with it and bend it a little bit with your fingers to get it loose from the backing. It's a little tricky the first time you do it, and so that's why I always try to leave a little piece. I'm gonna throw this away. And then basically on the light side of the mink at the bottom, I am just going to kind of run this. It's like a big sticker. I'm going to run this across from here to here, just like that. Now, let me get my scissors here. Then I'm going to turn it over and snip off this excess, right? So that is garbage. Okay. And now I can put this down and see it's like perfect size for the card. And again, I am going to lower this a little bit so there's a little more red showing at the top. It's a little different than, just a little different than centering everything. So that's how I did it. So now we are to the point where we can color. But before we do, I just want to show you what I did for this. As usual, you guys are probably very well aware, if you cut down the center and do from the edges into that center notch like that, you end up with like a little flag edge. And you can either make that flat like that, or you can do both ends. I tried to make it big enough for you to do whatever you want, you know, like, there you go. So like that. So I'm going to just kind of put that aside for a minute because I want my train in place first. And I want to show you, now we need to color our train. So let's get this put aside just for a moment. And I want to show you some of my colored train options. The idea of this is to put the little cute little, here's the, let me show you the set because that helps. So this is the set. It comes with a 3-piece train, the North Pole sign, the little presents, one single little present, and several messages. Now, these little bitty messages right here fit on the train right here. So you can make it say Merry Christmas, North Pole, presents, choo-choo. And then here's the one that I sent you for the front. And then train ride, believe, all aboard. All of these are so great, and this is such a fun set. There's also kind of a companion stamp set to this that makes like little tags, like little tickets. It's really cute. So this one has, and if everything in blue has a thin cut, if you buy it that way, you don't have to buy the thin cuts. You can buy just the stamps. But you can see that I sent you basically all of the cut pieces. Now, in the catalog, let me grab that one more time so I can show you. They colored the train using colored pencils, and it looks great. And they basically made the train more or less red with it fading pale in the center, right? It's outlined kind of in a red, and then it kind of gets paler as they went colored in the middle. And then they did black and green. So they went with 3 colors essentially. So I decided to take that as my, you know, inspiration and do 3 colors. But I wanted mine to be much bolder because the pale stuff on this bold paper didn't look quite as good. Let me show you the first one I did. So this one I did using watercolor, and to me it needs a little more. It just needs a little more. What I did was I took the inks and, you know, you squeeze them in the center and you flip the lid open and you have like a little palette here, and you can use a paintbrush or a water brush and then color your pieces. And it's a lot of fun to do that, and it looks fine. It looks okay. To me, this is just okay. I wanted something with a little more bling, so I want to show you another example. I'm going to keep this here so you can kind of see it. Let me make sure that's in camera. I'm going to move these for a moment. Okay, I don't want to lose anything. All right, so there's that one. So the next one I did, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to make it look kind of like chocolate in a way, like a candy thing. And so I made it brown, like gingerbread. And I think this one turned out super cute. Love how that looks. So let me just bring that up so you can see that. So this one is done with marker, completely done with markers. And I basically used the red, the deep reds, and I used the earth brown for the base, and then for the green, I used the dull green blend on this one. I think a closer match to the green would probably be the alpine green, if you have that. So, and then the other thing I wanted you to see is you might have noticed in the window, I like there to be something in the window. I don't even care like what it needs to be shaded or something, or it just looks like you ignored it and left it blank. So I like to use the this is the ice gray blend, the super light side, and I just sort of shadow out that window just a little bit. You can kind of see it really there and there. Just a scribble. It just adds something to it. It adds some shading and it makes it look a little more dimensional. Okay, so there is my second option, and I had fun coloring the little North Pole signs too, because now the North Pole sign, the interesting thing about coloring those is, again, what you might notice, let me see if you can see it, is on the edge of my pole, I did a tiny stripe of that ice blend, that gray, and it makes it look dimensional. I just went down the side. I'll show you when we start coloring. I'm going to color one set. And then I thought, okay, we have a black background. What does it look like, you know, in black? And I love how this one looks so, I really like how this one turned out. So I, again, used basically the same colors. This time I used the alpine green. I used the ice gray. Now, you know there's two different ones. So the Essentials has the blends, and the deep shades have the one that says shades. And so I used the deeper shades. I wanted the train to look black, but I don't want just a big black blob of train, and so I used the super dark gray, and I think that turned out really nice. And there is a good example of, you can see how I used the gray down the peppermint stick as a shadow. Now the other thing that I added to this one just a little bit is a little bling. You might notice it sparkles just a little. There you can see it, like here on the wheels, a little bit in the window shadows. I used my silver shimmer brush instead of the gray marker to do the trim, and I think that turned out super cute. So I love how that one looks. I think that's one of my faves. Okay, so there's that one. Now, I was going to do a colored pencil one, but I'm like, I did colored pencils before. I wanted to do something totally different. And so this is the one I decided to go with. I decided to show you, somebody asked me not very long ago, Karen, was it you? Can you color using the colored shimmer brushes? And yeah, you can. Look how sparkly these are. It's total shimmer. The whole thing, total shimmer. It is colored using the shimmer brush, and I thought I would show you what, while you color yours, I'll color using shimmer brush, and then this is the one we'll use to put the card together. Isn't it adorable? And it really adds sparkle to the whole card. It's really cool. I just love how that turned out. All right, so I'm going to set that there. I want to cover up my colors in case you're using them. So let's get out our pieces. And yours has the word presents stamped on it. Actually, like that. And you have a North Pole, a present stack, and then you should have a tiny, tiny little present too. So what I did was I got out my shimmer brushes, and I'm just gonna color and show you how I did mine. So I'm gonna start with the overall train. You can make it all red, all green. You could make it opposite this. You could make it any color you want, really. But I'm gonna show you this. So I have sage and Seabrook. I thought the Seabrook is the super light color in the paper. I thought that would look really good, but it turns out I kind of like the sage a little better. It has a little more boldness. And then this is evergreen, which is really dark, which I thought, oh, that's going to be too much. But here we go. I'm going to use sage first. Now, whenever I use shimmer brushes, I like to have like a paper towel or a piece of paper nearby so that I can kind of dab it off if it's too juicy, and so I can see how much is on my brush to start with. And so when I colored these, I just basically did a fast color like this. So the shimmer brushes come in a lot of different colors, and there is a bundle for the shimmer brushes for all the different colors. Like there's like 3 different bundles that you can get. So if you don't own any, that is a wonderful thing to use for your for your 50% off item if you're in my hostess club. Or if you make a big purchase, if you order like $150 worth, I will often give you something half off. And the shimmer brush bundle is a fun one to get because it's hard. First of all, if you're cheap like me, I don't like to pay full price for lots of stuff like this, but I want to have it. And so this is a great way to get it at a discount. So I'm just coloring this in, and you don't even have to be very careful. See how I have it kind of a little almost blotchy looking. It's not, it's not perfect. Let me bring that up a little bit. See how that looks? It's okay, because I'm going to show you how I sort of shade with that too. So my main thing, it's kind of like watercolor in that I'm just trying to get a base color on to start. And then I will go over it again and shade a little bit. All right, so since I'm only using just like, I don't know, 3 or 4 colors here, I need to color my presents also. And so you can decide if, how you want your presents. Do you want the big one red or green? I tend to make the 2 biggest presents opposite colors. So if you make one green, make a green with a red bow, and this one red with a green bow, like that. And then the bottom, I don't like to have the green next to the green, so on this one I'd make the ribbon green, for example, and on this one you can do anything you want, but again, I'm going to make the ribbon green. So I'm going to go ahead and do my green, and same way with my cute little present. I like to put that little present on the caboose. I think it's really cute. Okay, I'm going to close my sage just for a minute, and I'm going to get out my evergreen, which is a darker one, and be careful because these super dark ones tend to have a lot of juice to them, and so you want to make sure that you're using a real light touch. And I am just going to outline, see how I go off to the side and under like a shadow almost under the windows, a little bit between the wheels. You can even do, there's this little runner between the wheels down at the bottom. And I did that one too. So you can kind of see, I'm just making lines. It doesn't look all that spectacular yet. It would be fine to do a card that's not perfect, like, you know, blended and shaded and artwork. But I'm just saying, I want to show you how to do that. So I'm just putting that dark there, dark under the windows, and I might go ahead and just do a little bit on the side there. And I really like this between the wheels done. And then on my presents, sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of another, it's the same color but a little darker, so like maybe on your stripes, or maybe highlighting your bow just a little bit, just to give it a little more dimension. Okay, now I'm going to go back with my sage, and I'm not going to recolor everything, but I do want to kind of go over it. And what you'll see with the lighter color is, since the evergreen is still a little bit wet, I can pull it down and onto the train. Isn't that cool looking? And so I'm making the sage color darker and more even, but I'm also kind of blending in that evergreen color. So I love how that looks. It's not perfect, but it looks really nice. And I'm gonna do the same thing on each car. Just go over it again to smooth it out a little bit. And here's this car, the caboose. Now, if your shimmer brush feels dry, like you get to a point where you're like, gosh, it doesn't feel like there's anything coming out of it, you might notice on the side of the brush it says push on each side, and you can push down, squeeze it a little bit, and you can see it will release some of that color into your brush. Now, sometimes if you did this onto like a wax paper plate, or you know, something like that, you could use it almost like a paint palette and dip your brush into it to, you know, reshade again, to like use it like paint. All right. So there is my green. I think I'm going to do a little tiny edge around this North Pole sign. It's so small. But the shimmer brushes have a super pointy little tip, and so that makes you be able to do that. Now, storing these, I tend to store mine flat. Some people say they'll leak, like they get so juicy that they'll leak if you do that, so they store them sitting up. Your choice, but I'm just saying I tend to store mine flat. Now, the other color I used was red. I got like a little gnat that followed me in the house today. Bugs. You'd think with all this cold weather, the bugs would be gone, right? So this is raspberry, which is like hot pink. And I don't have a light red. I have regular red, I have raspberry, and I don't think I even have scarlet. I mean, like I don't have like all the shimmer brush colors. So I used a combination of hot pink and red to make the red that's on there. So I'm going to start with the hot pink raspberry, and I'm just checking my brush, make sure that it's not too juicy, right? And I'm going to color this in. And what you'll notice is it looks kind of red. It doesn't really look too pink. Now, if I put it on pink paper, I think it would look pink, but anyway. I'm just gonna shade it off. I'm not shading, I'm just coloring everything in, just like that. I'm gonna do all three. How you doing, Margie? I haven't seen you for so long. You know, I have a bag of stuff for you over here. I'm like, I keep meaning to message you and tell you when you're in town you should stop by. It's like, I just throw stuff in it every now and then. Okay, and then here is the caboose in red, and I'm gonna go ahead. Now I know that the peppermint, it's very tempting to color it red and white, like here. I love how that looks, and you can totally do that. For time's sake, I'm just coloring it in red right now, but you could totally just color, you know, make it stripy. And then I'm going to do those opposite bows. So the presents, I'm sticking with the same color scheme. That would be great, Margie. I'm home all the time because I just told my mother-in-law called me this morning to check on us, and I told her we're the boringest people ever. We've been basically hanging out here because we've been working on this house, and we want to get it done before the weather, you know, most of it done before the weather gets bad. I'm coloring my North Pole sign, and I am going to do the stripes on that. So I'm home a lot. I just don't, I don't know. I don't need to like go all the time, but we've gone out for a few things, like to the pumpkin patch and that kind of stuff. Okay, now this is just like a candy apple red. And again, I'm going to check it on my thing to make sure it's not. You can see the hot pink is darker than the candy apple red. But when I go over it together, like, oop, blobbed on me. When I go over it like that, you can see it gets darker, and it almost looks like that scarlet color. So that's really cool. All right, so I'm just going to go over that and over that, and I'm going to just do a couple of stripes a little darker. I was feeling kind of weird about having you guys sit here and watch me color, but that really is sort of the whole gist of this card, is coloring these images. And I wanted you to get your stuff out and use it. So when I have a shimmer brush that's really juicy, like this red one right now, it's super juicy. That one I might store on a tilt, like, you know, at an angle. I know, Heather, so you make me feel good, because it's nice that somebody actually wants to watch me color. It really does take me a few minutes to pull these things together. Now my silver is not Close to My Heart brand, it's Wink of Stella, but I just didn't buy the Close to My Heart one because I own this one already. The one thing about this silver is the Wink of Stellas, I noticed, tend to drip more. So just be a little careful. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the silver on the train track and the inside of the wheels, like that. Inside of the wheels, like the hubcaps, kind of. Not that, I don't think a train has hubcaps, but you get what I mean, right? And then also, I'm going to use this. This is where I'm going to use that Wink of Stella as a gray. So I want to show you what I'm doing here. Basically, I'm using the gray and I'm going down the side right there. And you can kind of see then it makes it look like it's curved. And if you've got a really light hand, you can do both sides. You need that white stripe in the center for it to look, you know, really cool. So like you could even go back with your pen and if you have a white gel pen, I just want to show you what this looks like because it is really cool. It's a cool effect. All right, let's see if we can get that to zero in. So what I did was I did gray on each side of the candy cane and then a stripe of white down the center. I just took my white pen and went down the center. I think you can see it. I hope you can see it. It's a little hard to, it's hard to do the camera when you're coloring because I feel like you need to be close up. And then you can also use your white gel pens to do, you know, highlights on your wheels, or, you know, if you have other highlights or things that you want to do, it just adds a lot to that. The last thing I have is the actual tires, wheels. And so I just have my black marker and it has a super fine tip. You could use any black marker and go around a circle. Oh, it looks like I missed a red candy cane stripe. Duh. All right. So I'm just going around. So Margie, I know your New Year's Eve thing is coming up and I'm getting kind of excited about it. And I think what I'm going to do is put together a, I think I'm going to do a layout kit. And instead of having people buy stuff online on my website, they'll just pay me by PayPal and I'll mail it to them. I think that way I can do it like this, where it'll have parts and pieces. And the only thing I haven't decided about, not cute, the only thing I haven't decided about is like whether I want everybody to supply a base page. Like, you know, we could do white base pages or something. And then almost everybody's got a 12 by 12 base page. I haven't decided on that yet. So there you go. Okay, so this one, I kind of colored a little candy cane stripe on here. And this one I did not. So that's where it is really nice to have a white pen. Like, you could go back in then and put your white color in your white peppermint. I think that's really cute, super cute. That almost turned a little pink because it's still a little red or a little wet, but it turned out really cute. All right, so I hope that you're done coloring or getting kind of close. I'm gonna let mine dry. I would let mine dry just a minute because Wink of Stella and the shimmer brush, they take a minute. So I'm gonna use the one that I made earlier. But basically what I'm going to do is just adhere all the pieces. So we have, I feel like I need my smaller runner. Let me grab it. There we go. That way I can put that on there. All right, so I like the North Pole sign here, and it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but you can make it straight. And I'm kind of, what I was thinking was, it looked kind of cool to have the silver look like train tracks. So I kind of overlapped my train just a little bit onto the silver. And then when you do your presents, you're going to have them tuck just a smidge behind there. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to really make it look like it's inside, you could trim your train car like that and put your presents inside like that. I mean, it's up to you. It's really unnecessary to do that, but I just thought I'd show you that as an option. And then we have our caboose. Right there. And then I love this. You could put this little package up here, or you can not use it at all, or you could put it like I'm going to on the end of the caboose. And I kind of like popping it up just a little bit, so I'm going to put a little square of foam on there, just on there. I keep trying to get that gnat that's flying around my head. It's driving me crazy. It's the bugs. The bugs this year. All right, so there's that. Now, the other thing that you have in your piece, you have your message. Now, your message can just lay wherever you want it to be. I like it, I kind of like it up a little bit. I like it popped up. I feel like it needs a little dimension, but before I put that on, I want to talk about these little silver dots that I sent. So part of this kit is this little tiny piece right there, and what it is a stamp right there. It almost looks like holly berries, but what it really is smoke. It's a smoke stamp. So if I wanted to, I could take my ink and, you know, stamp it kind of like a puff of smoke. I didn't really intend to do that for our card today. I thought it would be really cool to have those little silver gems as our puffs of smoke. Okay, where did they go? There they are. They're blending in. All right, so I thought it would look really cool just to put your puffs of smoke like this. You'll have to ignore my stamped smoke for now. But, you know, like make it shimmery and like that. Now, if you would rather use your gems in some other way, you could, you know, put them across the top or put one on each side of your message, like one here and one here, just to make it stand out a little. Up to you, entirely up to you. But that's what I sent them for. So I'm going to put this here, and I'll put one of my gems here. Maybe I'll put the other gem, let's see, on the other side. And then I'll do something else with my puff of smoke in a bit. but it would be really easy to, you know, draw a little puff of smoke, you know, using a marker or an ink pen, or not do it at all. But I do think that card turned out super cute. And then on the inside, your message, happy holidays. I thought since the outside said here comes Christmas, having it say Merry Christmas was a little weird. I don't know. So I used happy holidays instead. And this happy holidays stamp is one of the current ones in the catalog right now too. Ta-da! There you go. It's so cute. This is a really cute card. And so now I have this one, and then I have all of these trains colored. Imagine this at like the bottom of scrapbook page. I just think they're really cute. Anybody do like the Polar Express train thing? We did that one year. It was us and a bunch of little kids. That was really fun. And the other thing, on some of my samples, just for kicks, like I tried to doctor this one up a little bit because it was just so pale. I used the Jelly Roll Stardust colors, and you know they have like the reds and the green and the blue in here, silver, and so you know I took it out and I just added a little, you know, you can add a little bling to when you're coloring using other methods. Don't be afraid to mix it up a little bit. So you could use, you know, watercolor and then bling it up with a shimmer brush, or marker and bling it up with a shimmer brush. Sometimes I use a little marker on my see like I have this dark red blend. Sometimes I'll use a little marker on my watercolor just to add some shading to the image so that it pops a little more. So, all right. Anyway, that's what I have today, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you like the cards. If you find that you're like just not into making these, just let me know. I don't have to send them to you, or give them to a friend or whatever. It is, I think they're kind of fun because they don't, most of the time these don't take very long. I mean, if I didn't show you all this other stuff, you probably had this done in a 5-minute window. So I hope you love it. Thanks, Stephanie. All right, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.